All right, everybody. So let's talk about the big interview and what happened with that, and what Meghan was doing. Was she channeling Princess Diana? Was she imitating her? And then we're going to do a pick a card. What do people really think about you? What is really on their mind? What that they may not tell you, what they think, how they feel. Is it good? Is it bad? I am using, I believe this is the Celtic Tarot. That's embarrassing. I don't even remember what tarot deck this is. I have so many of them. But when I leave the place I'm staying in, I will only have 2 mini decks with me and one set of major arcana with a few oracle cards. I'm not going to bring a lot. So it'll be easier to keep track. And you'll get to see my brand new mini deck I just bought for that purpose, since I will be leaving here probably in the spring. And no, I'm not in Hawaii. I haven't been for a long time. Didn't work out. That's okay. I don't see myself living on a tiny little island in the middle of the Pacific Ocean where, God forbid, something happened and you're freaking stuck there with nothing, no one. And after a while, there's nothing to do but hike. And I'm not a hiking person. So I decided Hawaii is a better vacation destination for me than a living destination. That's why I've been in this background. But for a while, this is not in Hawaii, just so you know. But I'm not telling you where I really am right now because it's not your business to the people who ask. But anyway, let's go to Meghan and Harry's interview. Was Meghan, and if you'd like your own reading, life coaching session, incantation, spell, or spirit channeling. Spirit channeling means I do mediumship. I contact the dead or the deceased. Mediumship, I don't know if that's a word, but I do medium work. I also do spells on the full moon. There's a full moon on the 28th. If you'd like a prosperity spell, good time to do it. Love spell, good time to do it. Healing, good time to do it. Health, protection, good time to do it. But I cannot guarantee that medically it would heal you. It is only for spiritual healing. Okay. So, or protection, good time to do it on the full moon, a spell. And I do tarot and I do astrology charts. If you're interested in Kate Middleton's astrology chart and why her and Meghan didn't get along and why they had that flower girl fight, that is on Patreon, patreon.com/Naomi Tarot. I also have a video about the world's global population in correlation to pollution, what's happening in the world, what's happening with natural disasters and the pandemic. I have a video about that. That's on the spiritual truths and current events tier. And as always, the royals is on the royals tier and the spiritual truths tier. Spiritual truths is $5.99, full package. You get all the videos on the channel, including sign readings and full moon spells. And the royals tier is royals only. Current events is current events only, meaning relevant things happening in the world. Okay, so let's get into it. Was Meghan pulling on Diana? Was she trying to be like Diana in that interview? Yes or no? Okay, so death, ending, and new beginning. She was trying to have a new beginning, and she was looking for fulfillment. And she discussed some things with Harry on how to go about things beforehand. And she feels like it was a success. So they feel like this interview was a success. They got what they wanted, point they wanted across. She was holding back a lot of things, though, or there were things that were held back about herself. And they wanted to bring greater stability to themselves. I feel like I'm not going to get a yes or no with tarot. I'm just getting what they feel about this interview. So I'm going to ask yes or no. Yes, forward and back. No, circle. Yes, forward and back. No, circle. Was Meghan trying to act like Diana in this interview? Was she thinking of Diana and trying to copy her mannerisms and her behavior, her speech pattern? She studied her. Did she not look at her? Did she study her? You see, that's changing fast. Did she not look at Diana's interviews? Did she study Diana's interviews? There you have it. That's a yes. How did people receive this interview? Uncertainty. Uncertainty. Why is there uncertainty? People will be slow to come around, This also can represent Meghan because she's pregnant right now. New beginning. They see that she wants to go on a new beginning. They appreciate the family or the growing family, some people who are watching this, and they appreciate her strength. But at the same time, there is a tower moment. So for some people, there's a tower moment with the stability that once was in the crown or the recognition or looking for recognition. Harry and Meghan are looking for recognition. People are on one side or the other. You see that? Two sides, two of wands. People are on one side of the other. People are on one side or the other. Did Meghan act like Diana in order to get Harry to love her? Did Meghan act like Diana in order to get Harry to love her? Again, this is entertainment only, not fact. I don't claim it to be fact. Don't make decisions based off my readings. Please have the brains not to do that. Thank you very much. And then say, Naomi said so. Please. Okay. Let's see. Was she imitating Diana when she met Harry? Was she trying to lure him in with Diana's energy? Six of coin. She had money on the brain, fame and notoriety. Six of swords. She felt like it would be smooth sailing. Five of swords. There was a dishonest element to it. So yeah, she wasn't truly being herself. Now remember, I talk about this on the Kate Meghan astrology chart. In many ways, I should title it Kate and Meghan's astrology charts, because I talk about Meghan's astrology chart too as well in this video. And Meghan has a moon in Libra, and I know somebody with a moon in Libra, and what they do, it's not always intentional to be deceptive, but it's not even intentionally deceptive. It's, let me see how this person feels like I should act, and I'm going to act that way, you know, because Libra is the only sign that's represented by an inanimate object, the scales. So it was kind of like, let me see how people want me to act. And that also plays into why her and Kate didn't get along, but you have to watch that on Patreon to see why they didn't get along if you want to know about the flower girl thing. But as far as her trying to appeal to Harry, oh yeah, that definitely is because of the Libra moon. It's like the only inanimate object. Libra is the only inanimate object in the zodiac. And what a woman has in her moon is how she truly is, right? She is a Leo, first and foremost, which tends to dominate and overshadow the other signs, I would say. That's an exception. Leo will tend to, if you have it in your sun or moon, dominate the other signs. But she does have a Libra moon that's playing into her personality as well, regardless if the Leo dominates it. I would say if she was like a Capricorn or a Taurus sun or something like that, or a Virgo sun or Gemini sun, it would be less powerful to overweigh the moon. But because she's a Leo sun, it's very dominant and powerful, overweighing the Libra moon. But the Libra moon traits still stand. And the inanimate object of the scales always wants to be balanced. And sometimes with trying to find balance with other individuals, the scale will come across as fake, trying to make balance, trying to be what you think people want you to be, right? Instead of who you really are. So that's an explanation for it, without her necessarily even being necessarily intentionally deceptive. I'm not saying she wasn't, but if you just want to look at it totally unbiasedly and say, well, maybe she wasn't being intentionally deceptive, it could just be the Libra energy. I want to be what people want me to be. It's kind of codependent. So that can explain why she might have acted like Diana when she met Harry. Harry, you see that? The Hermit, he's a Virgo, came out right after I said met Harry. And look at that, deception, Five of Swords. So we have a yes to that question. And she was very focused, single-mindedly focused on achieving. This was like a goal or achievement for her to marry a guy like this, to get this type of love with a guy like this. And a guy like this, Harry, the Hermit, Virgo, Harry. And there's some things about herself, like she's very sure of herself. It comes across like that because she's a Leo, but then she's unsure of herself and indecisive. They want a positive new beginning, a new change. They're signing documents, contracts, the Hierophant, and they feel like, despite this interview being somewhat deceptive, they feel like it was a success. That's overall what they feel. Even though the world is kind of undecided, I feel like they're like ignoring the negative press or something. I mean, well, she did call up about what Pierce said. So maybe it's kind of like they're being a little bit, to be honest with you, a little bit delusional, because she did know Pierce said some negative things. So I don't see how they could feel like the whole interview was a success if people like Pierce were already saying negative things. Yes, Pierce was saying negative things from the beginning, but wouldn't she know about the other news on the other side? I would say it's very almost split down the middle, with people who really will support them to the end, and then other people who are turning over on the other side, or maybe something like 60 opposed, 40% for them after this interview. The Queen is really focused on keeping that name, keeping that money, keeping that fame for the family, and not fame like a celebrity, but that's the wrong word. That respect and that family lineage and that, you know, notoriety that the family has, and the prestige that they have. Well, they also have notoriety, but I don't know if the Queen wants to keep that, but that's what their family has because of other stuff in the past. But it's like she's very focused on that. Despite this interview, she's focused on the prestige, keeping the prestige. And you know, this shit going on with Andrew. Is that stuff with Andrew ever going to be addressed? Let's ask that. How about let's shift the focus to that for a little bit, because people just are not paying attention to that. That does not mean that Harry and Meghan, like I said, we're not two freaking Karens complaining insensitively about woe with me while even my $14 million mansion. That doesn't take away the fact that that was obnoxious. We're not saying, I think most people can agree, we're not saying that what Andrew did wasn't as bad. Nobody's saying that. There's just kind of, Harry and Meghan at this point are like an eye roll. That's why I put rolling eyes on one of my videos. And I was like this. I was trying to show that. Because it's more like, ugh, you're annoying, Karen. Go away, you know. And some people would be like little brats and go on my channel and be like, but aren't you a Karen almost, Naomi? It's like, first of all, I'm not middle-aged. Middle age is considered 45 and up now. I'm getting there, but I'm not there yet. And second of all, I'm not saying I'm going to go complain to everybody about all my privilege. I don't really have much if you're talking about wealth privilege. In other ways, I might. But when you're talking about Harry and Meghan being two Karens, Karen can be used as a slang for anybody at this point who talks from their privilege, whatever their privilege is. Now, Meghan doesn't have racial privilege, but she has a ton of wealth privilege, which actually protects her more than some people who have quote unquote race privilege, but no wealth privilege. So, and then people who have neither race or wealth privilege are even less protected than those other people. So to hear somebody like that complain with the prince, a former prince, and now just somebody who's living off of his mommy's money, and now I think allegedly put back on daddy's money later on, complain, and they have a $14 million mansion, shut up. So that's what a Karen is, in my opinion. And I've seen it used other ways for men too, men of all races. So it's not just exclusive to where it was invented, like a white middle-aged woman, like around 45, 50, up to like 65 or whatever, who says, I want to speak to the manager, and gets people in trouble, especially of other races. That's not how we're using Karen in this context. Karen has turned into basically just a pain in the ass who uses whatever privilege they have for whatever. So they're wealth privileged, little spoiled brats. That's what they have in common. And whether she, I wanted to say this as well to remark on the other video I did, whether she worked for it or not, it doesn't matter. She still has wealth privilege. Just because you worked as a waitress before does not mean that once you get the money, I think she seems to think that, because on the Oprah video, she was like, well, I worked as a waitress and I know how it really is. It's like, I defended you so much in the past, and I think there's nothing wrong that she wanted Harry's money and prestige. But don't come to us and start to say that you didn't know who he was. That's the thing. And don't come to us and say, well, I'm not privileged because I worked as a waitress before. It's like, but you don't now. And to your standards now, it's something less than a $14 million mansion isn't good enough for you. And now you want to whine on TV about how you didn't have enough money. That is privilege, regardless if you earned your way up to the top or not by becoming I think she had $5 million, having $5 million, then meeting Harry and making way more money by marrying him, whether it was earned through hard work and calculating actions, because let's face it, that is what she did. I don't think there's anything wrong with her calculating actions, because men do it all the time for sex. However, what I do think is ridiculous is complaining about your money on TV, complaining about all this stuff, and then turning around and saying you didn't know who Diana was, you didn't really know about the family. That's ridiculous. That's obnoxious. And I said that in the other video. But that the whole argument, well, she was a waitress. So what? That's not relevant now. That's the point. It's not relevant now. So they're two Karens. They're two Karens. And the world is divided on that. Like, you know, some people are going to be diehard Meghan fans. Like, oh my gosh, we love her till the end. She's finally finding fulfillment, right? And then other people are going to be like, well, these two just want attention. They want us all to watch what they're doing. That's why they did this, for attention. Okay? So there'll be some people who always love them no matter what. And there will be some people who, unlike that, just feel like this was a cry for attention. You know, woe is me, I'm crying here, but look at all I have. Look at all I have, but woe is me, why am I crying about it? Like that conflict. Some people are going to see this. Other people are going to see this. All right, let's be fair. There's always two sides to everything, and this is how people are feeling in the world right now. But yes, did she mirror Diana? Yes, she did. So yes, she knew exactly who Diana was. She knew exactly why Diana acted the way she did, and she knew exactly what she was doing. So let's just keep that real and keep it, you know, it is what it is. So Andrew, let's go to Andrew. Dangerous? I don't know if she's dangerous. You can have your opinion, but I don't think she's so dangerous. Manipulative, yes. Calculating, yes. Dangerous? I don't know. So let's go to Andrew. Are they ever going to really get Andrew, whoever's trying to get him? Let's just say, is Andrew ever going to be, fully accountable for what he did? Allegedly. Okay. Allegedly. I believe he did it, but I have to say allegedly. The lady. Okay. Star. King of Pentacles and a loss. There was a loss in him being viewed as this more stable person, this person who was the queen's favorite son, the person who, seemed like the one who had it all together. There's a loss of that image, and there is hope for a new beginning for him in the future. I don't think he's going to be held accountable, because that interpretation from these cards that came out, see, the devil energy will get most people. But he will be sailing on to calmer waters because of who he is. Because of who he is, there's hope for his future. Because of who he is, though there's frustration right now and uncertainty, ultimately, like I said earlier with the Ace of Pentacles, the queen will be focused on their prestige, cleaning up the mess, all the people around her, and the mess will be cleaned up. Okay? So, yeah, he's not going to be held accountable, unfortunately. All right, pick a card. Let's go to, so 956. Okay. Message one, pick a card. Message one. What do people really think about you? What they don't want to tell you, what they don't want to tell you, but they're really thinking. They think you lead a charmed life. They think you're very, very lucky, but they don't see how hard you work. They don't see how hard you work and how much it took for you to get where you got. Okay. They just see somebody who's got all this good luck, Wheel of Fortune, who's got all these happy news, happy things coming to them. They don't see that you often wonder if this really makes you happy. Seven of Cups, that this charmed life took so much hard work for you. So maybe don't tell everybody about your struggles, but if you want people to get some insight into who you are, maybe share a little bit of the stuff that you've done that helped get you this far. It's funny because it's kind of tying into what Meghan said in the interview. Like, I used to waitress, I did this, I did that. And so I wasn't always like this. I don't think that was the point. The point was more so, don't act like, oh, woe is me right now when it comes to being cut off by his daddy and then having to live off Diana's money when you're living at a standard of living that's a $14 million mansion. I think it was 14.65. It was more than 14 million. Don't come to complain to us regardless of how you got there. It's still annoying. That's the point. So it's kind of funny. It's like what Meghan, that's tying into what Meghan was sharing with everybody. But yeah, people think you lead this charmed life. You didn't have to do anything for it. And they just see you as somebody who, has things easy, right? And maybe you've gone through some tough things, some things that you have to leave behind in order to find balance in your life. Maybe, either you don't have to share it and don't care what people think, or share it, share what you had to do. Number two, what's going on for number two? Message number two. Number two, people think that they feel warmly about you. They feel an affection towards you. But at the same time, they feel like you're kind of closed off and secretive, the Hermit. And they feel like you're somebody who's very determined to get to the top, or somebody who's not ruthless, but very ambitious. And sometimes they feel like you've turned your back on them. They feel like you've turned your back on them. They feel like whatever it is that they want to know what they did that caused you to go into this hermiting shell and walk away from them. And it seems like you're only focused on your own success, but at the same time, they felt warmly towards you. They felt like you were this good person, this interesting person, charismatic, but there's something they can't quite put their finger on, Four of Pentacles, where they just feel like maybe there's something that makes them feel put off. There's something that makes them feel like, even though they feel like this gravitation towards you, right? They feel like there's something you're holding away from them, and you're ruthlessly focused on getting to the top. And when things start getting more complicated in the relationship with them, you turn your back and you hermit, and they want to know why you do that. They want to know why. It's not up to you, again, to explain that. I'm not saying you have to go tell people why you're like this or like that. I'm just saying what people feel about you, and that's what they feel. Number three, you can also watch all three messages to just see them, because a lot of times they tie into each other. so they can resonate. All three can resonate. Number three. I have to sign on to my chat line, Sue, so that's why I do another thing on the internet at night, giving people advice and things like that. So I'm sorry if I'm going quick, but this is going to be short. Number three, what do people really truly think about you? As above, so below, the Magician, the ability to law of attract and bring things into your life. They recognize that you have this charmed ability to do that, but at the same time, they don't trust you. Maybe they feel like you've projected that you're just so good at being recognized and perfecting things. Maybe this is some Capricorn, Taurus, Virgo energy, maybe some Gemini energy. You don't have to be these signs, but it could be. And you're so good at perfecting these things. It's so good at, it's just so easy for you. You make it look like they think that you're being dishonest. They think that you're dishonest with the way you relate to people emotionally. And so they have a conflict between looking at you as maybe they are as good as they look like they are. But they have an inner turmoil with sitting with that, like thinking that about you, like, is that really true? I mean, does this person really have it together as they make it look like? Or are they deceiving us? Is there really more losses in their life? So there is a theme actually to 1, 2, and 3. So all these messages should resonate with you. If you resonate with one of these numbers, all of them probably do. So there's a theme of somebody living a life that seems easier than it is, a life that seems more admirable than it is. And then some people can see through it and say to themselves, it's not quite like that. It's not quite like they're projecting. What's this thing? What's this thing they're hiding? You give this impression that you hide things to people and they want to know what it is. They're nosy. These people that are around you, they're nosy. They're trying to dig down to the secrets and lies and the truth, the high priestess. They're trying to figure out, but you're this Queen of Swords and you're like, I'm not going to reveal all my secrets. You can get away from me now with that mess. You know, you're not going to keep me back from this 8 of Wands. I am focused on my future. This is very similar to the Chariot. It's not as strong energy because Chariot is a major arcana, but it's similar. This is minor arcana. Again, Prince of Wands, that focus, that Wands energy, that passion to go forward. You're just like, I'm not going to let this get me down. Or maybe that's your advice. Don't let these people trying to pry into your secrets get you down. This is a good lesson too on masculine versus feminine energy. If you're interested in learning more about the dilemma of the masculine woman and the masculine and the feminine woman in society, and I'm not talking about looks, I'm talking about personality, I'm talking about energy you give forth to the world, the dilemma of women who try to be both at the same time, all the time. All of us have some elements of masculine and feminine energy, but other women, it's like they're more dominantly one than the other. And then other women, it's like they're trying to be two at the same time because they feel like that's what's expected of them. So this is kind of like that push-pull of that, right? It's like, I feel like the theme of this reading also is it's like, you look like this person who has it all together all the time. And people want to see what your weakness is, right? But it's not up to you to always show that vulnerability to people if you don't want to. You're not required to. And the same token, if you want to be more vulnerable, and people are asking you, why are you so needy? Or why are you so this? And why are you so that? And you're more of the vulnerable feminine side all the time. And people are bashing you for that. Why do you like pink clothes? Why do you cry in movies all the time? Or whatever. And they're shaming you for that, whether it's feminine energy or masculine energy. Both are not their business to say anything about. Both are not their business to pry in, whether this is a man or a woman doing this to you. Both have no business telling you what energy you should resonate in. And the conflict occurs when somebody feels pressured to have to be both at once at all times, when that's not really who they are. When somebody feels pressure to pretend to be more feminine because they think that's what men want, for instance. Or somebody feels pressured to pretend to be more masculine because they're afraid of getting called needy because they're channeling their feminine energy more. Both are just as wrong. And I feel like these people who want to pry into your life or people that are around you with this message 1, 2, and 3, it's kind of like they see all this together masculine energy and they're wondering, like, masculine energy is more of that I achieve, I do, I speak my mind. Feminine energy is more of I rest, I receive, I intuit, I am emotional, I express my emotions. That's feminine versus masculine. If we're talking about looks, of course, masculine would be short hair and, like, looking more masculine. I don't focus on looks too much on this because it's a spiritual channel. It's not really about the looks, although that can play into it. Feminine is more like keeping your hair long, wearing dresses more, whatever, makeup, whatever. That's the physical interpretation of it. But where we're talking about the personality aspect of it, it's like you've got this masculine energy you're projecting, or some masculine energy. It doesn't mean you're all masculine energy personality wise, but you're projecting that because you're, you know, these cards talked about somebody who's focused, who's taking initiative, who's going towards their goals, who won't give up. Masculine energy. That's why I often use Meghan as an example of somebody who personifies that, not in looks, but in energy. Leo women can be like this a lot of times. Or people who have a lot of Leo in their chart, Sagittarius, Aries, or Scorpio too. Scorpio is a masculine energy water sign, in my opinion. It's that passion and drive, never giving up, doing things to the end. And people, it's like they want to see your vulnerability. And the vulnerability in some aspect is the feminine side. It's the side that waits, that rests, that's okay with being provided for and receiving. Does it mean you have to be like that? No, it just means that that's a side to everybody. Some people have more of it than not. And these people are kind of like looking at you wondering, like, when is she going to show that side? When are they going to reveal that? I know that that part of them is there. There's a weakness there because our society, again, has been taught to constitute femininity with weakness. So when people think of weakness, what they're actually thinking of is feminine traits, being vulnerable. They call weakness something where you want to, like, for instance, what's the opposite of ambition? The opposite of ambition is not unambitious. It's just resting. Resting with what is, right? That's feminine energy. But our society puts it in a framework of that's bad. That's their weakness. I want to see if they're not always like this all the time. So it's kind of like, to some degree, you have concealed, like a lot of women have, that feminine energy, that vulnerability, and it's like they want to see it. And it's not up to you to have to show that to people who are thinking this about you. This is just a reading. What do they really think about you? It's not up to you to try to prove that. It just is what it is, you know? And if it is something you want to show more, then show it more. But again, watch that video on Patreon because I go in depth about how this plays into sexual relationships with men and women in particular. And it's not because I don't care about my LGBTQ people. It's not because of that, because this dynamic, specifically what I'm talking about, with how men have been trained to think about women specifically in a certain way right now, and how women are catering to this energy. They're being asked to measure up to these ridiculous expectations where they're supposed to be two people at once. That is very, a hallmark of heterosexual relationships right now, particularly for millennials and Generation X and lower. So that's why it focuses more on straight relationships. I do know a couple of people who are lesbians specifically, and they're not dealing with that kind of thing as much. I'm not saying that no lesbians ever deal with that or no gay men do, but I haven't really heard that. So that video you might find interesting, but I feel like this reading kind of tied into that because it's like people are, it's like they want to know. They're like, they don't always have it all together. They don't always look like this. They don't know, they're not as successful as they're making it look like, that it's just like that. Like, what's their weakness? Are they really like this all the time? And it's like, you're probably not like that all the time, but it's not necessarily their business to see how you may be other times. So that's what I have for that. And that's it. So I wanted to do this. Yeah, I have a few minutes to log in. I have to log in by 10:15. So let me just pull a few more cards and then we'll end the session. What does everybody who's watching right now need to know? This is not pick a card. This is just a general reading. Okay. There is money or success or recognition coming to you in the next couple of months. You have felt like you've lost money recently, or lost recognition, or been worried about something having to do with material things. You've been worried. It could be, if it's not material things, it's worried about losing luck or having some bad luck in your love life, in your personal life, and you felt uncertain about things. Well, the tide is about to turn. Particularly June could be a good month for you too, the summer months, because I'm seeing summer energy with wands, and then 6, the month of June, could be June. I feel like you're really going to start to put your focus on something and know your direction, know where you're going, and feel more confidence starting to build. Some breakthrough is going to happen, a yes to something you've been waiting for. So some question you've been asking, yes or no. This is a yes. It may come with delays, but it's a yes. So something very good is about to happen, actually. And it's a new beginning. New beginning towards greater stability. And we see greater wealth. Okay, so that's what I have. Good news for you. You will triumph out of the difficulty. Thank you for watching, and I will talk to you later. Yes, April, I did say that in your reading. Thank you for sharing that. I think it's so important for women to know that stuff. And I feel like perhaps if you're watching this right now too, your energy, I could be picking up some of it as well. Why the reading is resonating with what I said to you privately. So I appreciate you sending that message. And Dooney, I'll just call you Zaid. I hope that's okay. You're welcome. Thank you for coming. And thanks, Cynthia, for watching as well. I hope that you enjoyed this message and what I had to say about it. But yeah, I think it's important for people to know that people don't have to constantly be two people at once unless they really want to, and that's authentic. So yes, if you want to see the Patreon, anybody who will watch this or is watching this, go to patreon.com/Naomi Tarot for more about what I was talking about earlier and also about royals and everything else. For the rest of the month, there will be a spell uploaded. There will be sign readings for next month. So April, the projections for Earth, Air, Water, Fire, what's going to happen in April. And there will be some, I'll try to do some more current events and royals readings for the rest of the month on Patreon as well, something different that I didn't do on the YouTube. But thank you very much. And I will talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.